Hello creative mind, welcome back to another DIY session with me. And in today's video guys, we are going to be showing the shots you are seeing on your screen. So I want you to go ahead, get your measurements ready guys. So the measurement I'm going to be working with is my trouser waist, my hip circumference, my trouser length, my crotch depth. The crotch depth is the measurement taken from your waist level to this point here, and you can measure it while sitting. You can look at the picture you are seeing on your screen. Then you measure the crotch length. The crotch length is from your trouser waist point at the front, then all the way to the back here. That is your crotch depth. So don't forget your thigh measurement. Now, once all the measurement is ready, you want to go ahead, get your fabric, and let's get it started, guys. So I'm going to be working with this fabric. It is a little bit over 2 yards, so which I am going to be working with. So this is going to be my fabric. Now, I'll be using the widest of all the measurements, which is my hip, to place my fabric on fold. So let's get it started. So I'll be placing my fabric on fold using my hip. Like I said, my hip measurement is 11 and a half divided by 4. When I divide it by 4, it is 11 and a half. So I'm just going to round it up and add extra 6 to it. So that's supposed to be 16 and a half or so. I'm just going to place my fabric on fold using 17 inches, okay? So I'm going to be placing it on fold using 17 inches to measure and confirm, okay? So now, once that is done, the next thing I'm going to do now is to go ahead and place my measurements. The first thing I'll be doing is to get my lines ready. So I'll be creating a straight line here, which will start as my waistline. Now, once this is done, the next thing I'll be doing now is to get my other lines ready. I need my hip line. Now, when you look at the short, it has a band. So it means that for all my measurements, I'm going to be subtracting 2 inches from them. That is my vertical measurement. My waist to hip is 8 inches. I'll subtract 2 from it. That makes it 6. Then I'll add half. I'm adding half because I'm doing this direct on my fabric. Then I need the half inch when I'm sewing my pant to my band, okay? So that means I'll be measuring 6.5 inches here. I'll measure the 6.5 all the way. I'll connect it on a straight line. Now, another line I'll be getting here also is my thigh line. So I'll be using my crotch depth measurement for that. My crotch depth is 11 inches, okay? So I'll go ahead, subtract 2 inches, which I'll be left with 9 inches. That 9 inches, don't forget, add your half. So it means from my waistline, I'll go ahead and measure my 9.5. I've told you why we are adding that half inches. We are going to need the half inch, okay? So then I'll go ahead and connect it all the way. Now, once this is done, we are not making a trouser. It's going to be a short. So I'm going to go ahead and measure my trouser length. Now, my trouser length is 25 inches. I'm going to use that direct. I won't subtract. Why? That is because the trouser is going to have a bending. It's going to need a bending allowance. So if I have to subtract it, it means I'll do 25 minus 2 plus 2. So at the end of the day, it is still the same 25. So that's what I'm just going to do 25 inches direct. So this is my 25 inches. I'll mark it. I'll come here to measure my 25, then I'll mark it. And once I do so, I'll go ahead and connect it on a straight line all the way. Now, once all this is done, the next thing we are going to do is to come here now. We measure 1 inch all the way. We call this 1 inch the shaping space. I'm going to just measure. So you don't need more than 1 inch. I'm just going to measure the 1 inch all the way. And once that is done, I'll go ahead and connect it this way. Connect it very well. Now this is it. Now the next thing we are going to do is now to start working with our measurement. We are going to start placing our measurements on our fabric. Now I'll be working first with my hip measurement. My hip measurement, like I said, divided by 4 is 11 and a half. So I'll come here and measure my 11 and a half. This is it. I hope you get it now. Once I do that, the next thing I'm going to do is to place that same 11 and a half on my tie line. And this is why I'll mark it like this. And once that is done, I'm going to go ahead and connect it all the way this way. Now, once this is done, the next thing I'm going to do is to come. Now, this line now that I just connected, I call this a waistline, the hip line, the tie line. You see this straight line here? We call it the CDL. That is the crotch depth line. Okay? So, from this crotch depth point now, I'm going to go ahead and measure 2.5 forward. We call that the crotch extension. So this is it, 2.5 inches, that is it. It enables us to have more room for the tie. My tie is 29, divided by 2, I'm going to have 14 and a half. So I can go ahead and measure if it is up to. So what I have here is 14 inches. So if I want, I can make use of this 1 inch we have here as shaping to cover up for my tie. And even if I work with 14 inches direct, it's still going to cover up because the back piece is going to be bigger than the front. Okay, so now this is it now. So I'm going to go ahead and shape the crotch area. Now, how do we do it? I'm teaching you how to use your free hand if you do not have the cuff. From your tie line, come up by 1.5. From this point where the two lines connect, come out by 1 inch. And the next thing you do is just use your free hand and blend it slightly, so you can then go ahead and cuff it. It's meant to look like letter L, like you are writing letter L, small letter L. Okay. Now, once that is done, the next thing is going to go is for us to come back to the M now. So you want to determine what you want at the end. Okay, what do you want? You want it to just be wide leg, you want it to be a little bit shaped. So if you want it to be wide leg, it means whatever you have from this point to this point here, you bring it down to your hem. If you want it to be a little bit shaped, whatever you have here, like here now, I'm having 14 inches. It means that I'm going to subtract 1 inch on both sides. Let me show you the first way. If you want it to just be wide leg, I have 14 here. I'm going to come here and place the same 14 here, which is going to be like this. Then you just go ahead and connect it to that your crotch depth point. Okay, so you connect it this way. So that's your wide leg part now. Okay, I hope you can see. Now, for those that may want it to be a little bit shaped, that means from this point you just come in by 1 inch on both sides. 1 inch here, you come here, you come in by 1 inch as well. Then you connect it. That's from here also to the crotch extension point this way. Okay, then you come to this side now and you connect from that point to your thigh this way. Okay, you stop it at your thigh point. Do not go beyond because of the measurement here, and that's it. So if you want yours to be shaped, and if you just want a wide leg pant, you have it here. Now moving forward, let's come back to the waistline. Remember, we use the hip measurement, right? So it means that what we have here will be much more than what we need for our waist. So this is what I'm going to do. On my waistline, I'm going to come in by 1 inch. 1 inch. So then we connect it back this point now, and that is it. Remember, the trouser has a zip fit still in. So at this point, I'm going to, whatever my crotch extension is, I'm going to measure it here. The 2.5, measure the 2.5, measure the 2.5, and once you measure it, you go ahead and you connect it on the straight line. Okay, just connect it on the straight line, because connect it on a straight line, put point X here and point X here. That is telling you to only cut from here to here. Only cut from here to here and stop. Okay, now let's go ahead and cut. So I'm going to go ahead here this way. So I'm just going to go all the way here, all the way. So I'm just going all the way. Note that I put point here, so we are still coming back. Then I'm going to come here and cut my side all the way as well. Like I said, if you do not want it to be shaped, just go ahead, cut it straight all the way. Now this is saying I just want a straight pant, but then we need our zipper flyer. So that point X, I'm going to cut through from here and stop at the second. So once I'm done cutting, this is it. You can see I only cut through from that point X to here because this is going to serve as our zipper flyer, which is going to come in this way. Now this is what I'll be doing now. I'll maintain that straight line, okay? So I'll maintain that straight line, which is the straight line here. I'll maintain it, place this on fold it inside this way, do it this way, then I'll pin it down. Now once I pin it down, I'm going to go ahead, use my pin to hold it because we'll be using this to cut the back. So you want to make sure that the fabric is wider, so that it covers up for the CB crotch extension and the side seam allowances that we are going to be making use of. Okay, so now once this is done, I'll make sure my fabric are all laid together. Then when you look at what I'm doing here, you see that I'm giving more room than just this half inch I left initially, because we are going to be doing a bum raise at the back. So I'm using up to 3 inches here. That's okay. So I'm just going to make sure everything is well placed like this, and that's it. Now let's get to work. So I'll pick up my straight ruler, extend this straight line here all the way, so that it gives me a guideline on what to do. Okay. Now once that is done, we are going to go right into it and start working. And the side seam here, I'm just going to use my seam allowance is just going to be 1 inch all the way, just 1 inch all the way. So you shouldn't do more than 1.5. If you feel you need more, it shouldn't be more than 1.5. So I'm just going to measure the 1 inch all the way, extend my straight line here. Now once that is done, I'm going to just go ahead and connect it. So this is it. I'll go ahead, connect here to here, connect here to here. Then I'll go ahead and connect here as well to here. Now, once that is done, the next thing I'm going to do now is this. I'm going to extend this my CDL line up. I'm going to need it, so I need to extend it all the way up like this, as you can see. So let me just trace this out because we are going to need it. Now, once that is done, the next thing we are going to do now is this. At the inseam area, I'm going to go ahead. At this part, I'm going to come out by 3.5. This is it. I'll mark the point this way. So at the hem of my sleeve, I can do 1.5, which is okay. 1.5. This is it. Then I'll go ahead and connect everything this way. Now, once that is done, the next thing we are going to do now is this. Come down here by 1/2 inch. I'll mark the point that way, 1/2 inch from this straight line, which we did an extension. I'll come down here by 1/2 inch, and I've done that. Now, at the back, like I said, we are going to have a bum rise there. So you can do 2 inches. So once you mark that point, remember I said your bum rise will come up by 2 inches. It's okay. Now from that point, I'm going to go ahead and connect it all the way to this point here. Now this is what we have now. I've connected it all the way to this point. So I'm going to go ahead and do it properly. I'm going to connect it properly. Now that is it. Now, once this is done, the next thing we are going to do now is at the CB now, we are coming in by 1 inch. That is because unlike the front that is straight, the back is not straight. And since we are sewing a band, if it is a trouser, a baggy pant that we're going to be ruching the waistline with elastic, we do not need this one, okay? But now for this type of trouser, you need this so that the bum can sit and fit into the trouser properly, okay? So you come in here by 1 inch. Once you do so, remember you come down here by, once that is done, you are going to go ahead and shape it. The shaping can be a little bit tricky, but then just, I'm coming here by the same 1 inch, so I'm just going to go ahead, just freehand do it. That's it. So I'm going to come out here now, coming here back here, okay, and that's it, because this one must come a little bit inside. So I'm just going to go ahead now and cut it out. So at this point now, this is what we have cut out. Now let's go ahead and shape the pocket. Depends on how wide you want the pocket to be shaped. So I'm going to do 6 inches from here. Then determine the depth of the pocket, how deep you want it to be. But you know the jean pocket is always slightly curved. So you can come in by 5 inches here. Then you slightly go ahead and you shape it this way. So that is to tell you that this is how curved the pocket should be. So this part we are going to cut it out. Please and please make sure you remove your back pocket from it too. So we are going to cut it. This is it. This is pocket one. So let's go ahead and cut the other pocket pieces that we are going to need. We will cut another one for this part now. So at this point, you want to go ahead and determine the depth of your pocket. Okay. So go ahead, determine the depth of your pocket. So I'm going to place my fabric on folding here. Is going to be the base. Before I cut the facing of the pocket, I'll cut the base. So I'll align it perfectly with my body. Okay, then you want to go ahead, determine your pocket length. This is the tip of my trouser. So my pocket length can be around the same, 10 or 10 and a half. I'll be working with 10.5 inches. So that means I'll come here, mark point 10.5 inches. That is going to be the depth of my pocket. So let me go ahead, connect this all the way. So I have a very perfect straight line. So remember I said I'm not going to cut this. This is just going to be the base. That is the fabric that you'll be seeing outside. Just as we are seeing another fabric outside now. So I'm going to go ahead, connect this on a straight line, cut. So now once this is done now, the next thing I'm going to do, remember we are working with 10.5 inches as the length. So please and please make sure you do not make mistake. Remove the fabric so that you don't cut it by mistake. Then you do this. So I'm going to divide this into two because it is each piece for each pant leg. Now that is it. This is the part of the pocket that you'll be seeing outside that is covering the body just as you are seeing it. So now we need the facing of the curved pocket this way. So we are going to go ahead again. So at this junction now, remember I said I'm cutting the facing for the pocket. So we are still working with the same 10.5 inches for the pocket length, which is what I have here. Then you determine the pocket width we cut for the first pocket fabric. I have 7.5 here, so I'm going to make sure that it's the same 7.5 that I also use here. This is where it stops. Now remember I said for this one, you have to cut this part off because this is the facing. We call this the facing. It is what we use to turn the raw edges of the pocket. Then we go ahead and trim off this way. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this through. So then I'm going to further go ahead and divide it into two. Okay. At the end of the day, it is going to come in like this. So this is what we'll be having. So this is the part that this one joins to this, close it together. So that's that for the pocket. So we have all the other combat pockets. To cut this now, like I said, I will cut length 8 by width 7. You can see it is 7. So I'm going to go ahead and measure. So if you are like me, I love to always have a straight line. So I'm going to go ahead now, measure my 8 inches here. 8 inches, then I'll connect it straight. So I'm having my 7 by 8. So 2 pieces ready. I'm going to cut it. Open it up. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut the flap. 7 inches. I'll make sure I have my 7. This is 7 inches here. 7 inches here. I'm cutting the 2 at a time by 4. 7 inches by 4. So this is it. So you can see what we have here. Now this is the flap of the pant. So we need the smaller pocket, because if you look at the picture, we have 2 different pockets there. So for the smaller pocket, I'm going to be working with, so I'll keep this aside now. So for the smaller one, I'm working with length 6 by breadth 5. So length 6 inches. I'll come here, connect my 6 inches, connect it all the way. Then I'll measure my 5 inches. 5, 5, 5. So I'm using 2 pieces of this as well, and this is the 2. That's because we are going to be bending it at each side. So we need the flap as well. So for the flap, this is the pocket. In the first one we cut together. Then this is the second one we cut, whereby I make sure that this one I cut it to be the same shape with the shape here, because we are going to be using it as a facing, while this one comes under it. So at the end of the day, you see the pocket coming out like this, like you can see it on the screen. Now, this is the band. I just cut the band. The band is breadth 4 inches by width. You can cut 20 or more than that, so that you cut 2 strips of it, 4 inches by length, 20 or more than that. This is going to be the band. Now, the next thing now is this one. This is going to be the combat pocket that it has. Now, this one has a pocket and a flap. The pocket is breadth 7 inches by length 8 inches. I cut 2 pieces of this, so which is going to be the combat pocket that will be at the front this way. Then why this is going to be the flap should be the same thing with the breadth. So this one too is breadth 7 inches down, then by length 4 inches. This is going to be the flap for the combat pocket. Now the second smaller one, which is going to be up here now, this now is breadth 5 inches. The flap is breadth 5 inches by length 3, while the pocket itself is breadth 5 inches as well by length 6 inches. So the pocket, when you look at the design, you notice that the pocket there is 2. One is the bigger one, while one is the smaller one, and they are both going to have a flap like this. So I cut two pieces of each. Remember, we cut this one together, and that is it. So guys, let me know if you love to see the sewing video of the short. Kindly follow, like, share, and subscribe. See you guys in the next video. Bye bye.